What does it mean to be home? Is it a place on a map? A building with familiar walls? Or is it something less tangible? A feeling of being seen, of being safe, of belonging. In our transient modern world, where we move for jobs, for education, for relationships, that feeling of rootlessness is a quiet, pervasive ache. Many of us feel like foreigners, even in places we've lived for years. We are haunted by the search for a place to truly belong. If this search is a part of your story, then there is a small, 4-chapter masterpiece tucked away in the Old Testament that speaks directly to your heart. It is the Book of Ruth, and it is not the simple, romantic fairy tale we often mistake it for. It is a gritty, realistic, and profoundly wise psychological guide to how a home is not found, but created through radical acts of loyalty, courage, and kindness. Our story begins not in a place of hope, but in a landscape of total loss. A famine drives an Israelite family, a man named Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their 2 sons, to leave their home in Bethlehem and seek refuge in the foreign, pagan land of Moab. They are immigrants, outsiders. There, the 2 sons marry Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. But the refuge is short-lived. Tragedy strikes not once, but 3 times. Elimelech dies. Then, 10 years later, both of his sons die. We are left with 3 widows, adrift in a foreign land, with no male provider and no clear future. Naomi, now an aging, destitute, and deeply bitter woman, decides to return to her homeland. And here, at a crossroads on the dusty road back to Judah, we face the first and most crucial choice of the story. Naomi turns to her 2 Moabite daughters-in-law. She releases them from any obligation. She urges them, for their own good, to return to their mothers' homes, to their own people, and to their own gods, where they might find new husbands and a new life. It is a logical, practical, and compassionate speech, and Orpah makes the logical, practical choice. She weeps, she kisses Naomi goodbye, and she turns back. But Ruth clings to her. Naomi insists, "See, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law." And Ruth's reply is one of the most powerful declarations of loyalty and self-transcendence in all of literature. It is not just a promise, it is a vow, a complete transference of identity. She says, "Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried." Let us deconstruct the radical nature of this choice. Ruth is a young woman. She has every right to seek a new life, a new husband, and children of her own in her own land. By choosing to follow Naomi, she is choosing a future of almost certain poverty and marginalization. She will be a foreigner in Judah, a Moabite woman viewed with suspicion and hostility. She is binding herself to an old, bitter woman who has nothing left to offer her. This is not a choice based on logic or self-interest. It is a choice born of a profound, relational bond. It is an act of what the Hebrew scriptures call Hesed. Hesed is one of the most important words in the Old Testament, and it is notoriously difficult to translate. It is often rendered as loving kindness, mercy, or steadfast love. But it is more than just an emotion. Hesed is loyalty in action. It is a covenant love that goes beyond duty, beyond obligation, and beyond what is fair or expected. It is a stubborn, unbreakable commitment to the well-being of another. Ruth's choice to follow Naomi is a perfect, embodied sermon on the meaning of Hesed. So they arrive in Bethlehem, two destitute widows. Naomi is so changed by her grief that the townspeople barely recognize her. She tells them, "Do not call me Naomi," which means pleasant. "Call me Mara," which means bitter. For the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. Into this bleak reality, Ruth begins to act. She doesn't wait to be rescued. She takes the initiative. She tells Naomi she will go to the fields to glean among the ears of grain. Gleaning was a part of the ancient Israelite law, a kind of social safety net that allowed the poor, the orphan, and the foreigner to follow the harvesters and pick up what was left behind. It was a right, but it was also a position of extreme vulnerability, especially for a young foreign woman alone. And by chance, the text tells us, she ends up in a field belonging to a man named Boaz. Boaz is the second hero of our story. He is described as a worthy man, a man of wealth and integrity. And he, like Ruth, is a practitioner of Hesed. When he arrives at his field, he sees this foreign woman. He asks about her, and he has already heard her story. He has heard of her radical loyalty to Naomi, and his response is to go far beyond the letter of the law. He tells Ruth to stay in his fields, where she will be safe. He instructs his young men not to bother her. He tells her that when she is thirsty, she can drink from the water his own servants have drawn. He invites her to share his meal at midday. He even secretly instructs his harvesters to pull out some from the bundles for her and leave it for her to glean. He is not just following the rules of gleaning. He is creating a space of safety, provision, and dignity for this outsider. His Hesed mirrors her own. He sees her act of loyal love, and he responds with his own. This is how belonging begins. Not with a legal right, but with a reciprocal exchange of kindness that goes beyond what is required. The plot culminates in one of the most culturally complex and courageous scenes in the Bible: the encounter at the threshing floor. Threshing floors were public spaces, and at the time of the harvest, they were places of work, but also of celebration. Naomi, seeing an opportunity, gives Ruth a bold and risky set of instructions. She tells her to wash, anoint herself, and go to the threshing floor at night. After Boaz has eaten and drunk and lies down to sleep, Ruth is to uncover his feet and lie down. To our modern ears, this sounds scandalous, but in the context of the ancient world, it was a culturally specific and incredibly brave, symbolic act. By uncovering his feet, she was placing herself under his protection. She was not offering herself sexually. She was making a silent, formal, and deeply vulnerable appeal to him as a kinsman redeemer. A kinsman redeemer was a male relative who, according to Israelite law, had the right and the responsibility to redeem, to buy back, the land and the lineage of a deceased relative. Ruth was, in effect, proposing marriage, not for romance, but as a way to preserve the family line of her dead husband and to provide for her mother-in-law, Naomi. Boaz wakes up, startled. He could have shamed her, dismissed her, taken advantage of her. But he is a man of Hesed. He understands the symbolism. He understands the courage it took for her to do this. He blesses her, praising her for her loyalty. He calls her a worthy woman. He agrees to redeem her if another, closer relative declines. He sends her away before dawn, with a generous gift of barley protecting her reputation. He then goes to the city gate, the place of legal transactions, and skillfully negotiates the right to marry Ruth and buy back Naomi's land. The story that began in emptiness ends in fullness. Ruth, the Moabite, the foreigner, the outsider, marries Boaz, the pillar of the community. She has a son named Obed. And the women of the town, who once saw Naomi as Mara, the bitter one, now say to her, "Blessed be the Lord, who has not left you this day without a redeemer. He shall be to you a restorer of life and a nourisher of your old age. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you, who is more to you than 7 sons, has given him birth." And the book ends with a stunning genealogical punchline. Obed becomes the father of Jesse, and Jesse becomes the father of David. Ruth, the foreigner, the one who had no claim to belonging, becomes the great-grandmother of Israel's greatest king. The ultimate outsider becomes a cornerstone of the central story. So what does this ancient story of loyalty and kindness teach us about our own modern search for home? It teaches us that home is not primarily a place we are born into, but a community we create through our choices. It is forged in the commitments we make. Ruth found her home not by returning to the familiar, but by bravely stepping into the unknown, armed only with her loyalty to another human being. It teaches us that the currency of belonging is Hesed. It is the practice of kindness that goes beyond what is fair or required. Ruth showed it to Naomi. Boaz showed it to Ruth. Belonging is a circle of reciprocal grace. It happens when we are willing to both give and receive acts of loyal love. And finally, it teaches us that our status as an outsider is not a permanent disqualification. In fact, it can be the very thing that allows us to practice a more radical and courageous form of loyalty. The Book of Ruth is a testament to the fact that the most unlikely people from the most unlikely places can become central to the story. If you feel like a foreigner in your own life, if you are searching for a place to belong, the story of Ruth offers not an easy answer, but a practical path. It is the path of Hesed. It is the path of choosing loyalty over logic, of taking risks for the sake of relationship, and of looking for the small, concrete ways we can make a space of safety and dignity for the other outsiders we meet on the road. Home is not a place you find on a map. It is the safe space created between two people who have chosen, against all odds, to go the journey together.